Otto, you're muted, mate.
Buonasera. Can you hear me now?
Take two. Yeah, no, we're good, mate.
Take
we're good.
two. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you fine, yep.
Perfect. Buonasera, Mike. Ciao a tutti. Welcome in a new episode of Fratelli di Rugby podcast, live on Instagram and YouTube. For the next season, we're gonna be on X back, but for now, we're on these two platforms live, and then, of course, on Spotify. How are you, Mike?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. How you doing? You good?
Good. Just fresh. We finished. We are ready for the summer, actually. Vacation for the players, vacation for us. Seems almost there. Come on.
Nice.
10
Getting
days
yourself to the beach, are we?
Oof. Do you think so? Huh?
Yeah. You strike me as the guy that likes to sit by the beach. Very good.
Yeah, I like to just stay there. I don't want to do anything. Just let me stay there. Let me do my cruciverba, my settimana enigmistica, right? The
easy, man. Yeah, no, good, mate. Good to hear. Good to hear that you've got some downtime coming as well. But it feels like not just with the rugby season. It feels like it's been a long old year, hasn't it? We're only sort of late July.
No, actually, it was long, non-stop. Every time busy. For now, actually, now we can really chill for a bit as a supporters too, because now we have to wait pre-season, something with the rugby market, but that's it. We can watch the other rugby, the rest of the championship, but now the heart is not involved in this. So
yeah. Less stress. Less stress for
stress. Talking about stress, have you been stressed this weekend for the Italy's game, during the game? How did you feel?
No. So after the first 10 minutes, I was like, oh, okay. Maybe we were 10-0 up after 10 minutes. 17, like it was 17 minutes when we were 17-0 up. I was confident at that point because I said to you, and I think we all agree, where we normally make the mistakes is in the first 20 minutes. We started the game really strongly. Yeah. Which was something similar to what we did against Wales, where we started strongly. So, man, I was shocked, to be honest. Not, pleasantly surprised at how competent, how relaxed, how comfortable and professional that performance was.
Right, because I think the thing that shined the most for me, we were able to score beautiful Pajero from Lyon. He kicked from Lyon those penalties. Great, amazing. I was expecting Trulla,
Yeah.
But Pajero, great. Okay, let's go. Let's do it. So something that, if you remember, you mentioned Wales game 2 years ago. Padovani kicking from the middle of the field. So that was something surprising. But in general, I would say the defense was more we can still work on that, because then we can read about numbers and stuff, but was pretty confident our defense, because we didn't let them play, think about what they tried to do or to score. They didn't score. They weren't able to score with that knock on too in the second half. But hey, that was something really, really nice to see from us.
Yeah. Man, we suffocated them in D. Like our line speed, again, particularly in the first 20 minutes, was sensational, to be honest, mate. Like they really, really struggled to deal with that, and the way that we were actually putting bodies in at the ruck meant that they weren't getting as clean ball as they wanted, and weren't able to create this super speed that they've been talking about. So yeah, man, I'm again, like this was a game that was won on defense, and Quesada said at the start of the week that's what they were focusing on, and hey, listen, like you can see it. So yeah, I'm again like quite pleasantly surprised by the shift. And listen, like, it wasn't easy. Like the Japan for
No,
long
no,
periods of the game had like a lot of possession, didn't they?
at the end of the third week of tour, last game, the most important game, with the most like loud crowd actually too, if you think about the Sapporo stadiums, no? So that was something that we can bring home in a really positive way, being the third game with Richard Hodges on in charge of the defense. We can see developing that idea of defense that we start seeing in the last period of Goose and Quesada together, talking about defense. So
Yeah.
pretty interesting. What was the moment of the game for you, the highlight of the game?
I put.
You
I'll
can
say the
give me
highlight.
an attacking one and a defensive one if you want.
Well, I wrote down on at 46 minutes, right? I put massive, like, in my notes. I put massive, like, capital letters, and I wrote game management. And this is something that we previously, even regardless of age grade, we previously messed up on, where we had some sort of, and this is something that we did in against Samoa. And I'm glad the lesson was learned, because I remember I said to you, and I think everyone agrees, if we're going to make mistakes, we just want to learn from them. We want them to be lessons. And I put 46 minutes, game management there, massive letters right in the middle.
Yep.
Because Lamaro pointed to the post from halfway. We'd sustained 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 16 minutes, sorry, where we didn't touch the ball. They were in our 22. We gave away 3 penalties, a yellow card. Then we managed to exit. I think it might, I can't remember who won the penalty, but we exit, and then we get to the halfway line and we win another penalty, and straight away we take the 3. And I think at that point it was 24-14. We were 10 points up. So for me, in terms of, and I know this isn't, like, I could quite easily say Ross Vincent's, kick on and that beautiful offload to Pedro. But for me, the most satisfying point in the game was the point where we learned from our previous mistakes and we showed some serious maturity as a team, right? And it wasn't an egotistical decision. It was, lads, let's calm things down. We've done well. Let's, reset. Let's go. For me, that's the most satisfying part. Like, most satisfying moment in the game for me.
Makes sense, because we had big chunks of the game just defending, like 2 minutes multi-phase of Japan defending, then putting pressure on their mistakes, because they commit a couple of mistakes when Fischetti rushed out of the try line in the second half to stop and Dearns commit the knock on. But the quick thinking of Pacherlo, who was Capozzo? Pagerot, that tap and go 50 meters up, offload Capozzo waiting for Lineag on his outside, I guess.
In fairness, right, in his defense, because the commentators were a bit mean on him,
man,
that's where he should have been. Like, there was no one on the outside defending that. That was a try.
He should have been there, but man, those two were fast.
Yeah.
It was hard for him to stay behind them.
Yeah. They just
went automatic flare, not clap.
Yeah.
Like, by default, he went passing the ball in that direction. But yeah, I agree with you on that. On the, I like that transition when kick the ball, Vincent, that you mentioned. That was nice, really nice to see. But even if we think about Zambonin scoring in that way, it's nice when you see long break and then who arrives there. The second row, the lock is there. Like Frost for the Australia this game against, that was always there. Nick Frost,
mate, so he was brilliant as well. No, I agree. Obviously, Capozzo goes to show how quickly he can change a game, right? Seeing
in
that,
the shape, and then
yeah,
in 1v1, Tua goes out, it's gone.
broke his absolute ankles with off that. Garbisi as well, like did beautifully there because he delayed the pass long enough that they had to run across, right? Because they were like weren't sure if he was going to go, and Garbisi is quite a powerful runner, so 1-on-1 he probably would make that. So they had to double up on him, and he delayed it, took it to the line, and Capuozzo with that step back, he just broke the guy's ankles. And yeah, man, what a wonderful. Hey, listen, for me, right, it's really hard to say, particularly obviously in the first half. Everyone contributed something, right? Everyone contributed something at the same time. There was a couple of players, well, a player in particular that probably didn't have their best game, and probably not going to go into that in too much detail. But I think aside from that, there, it just everyone contributed, which was beautiful to see. I think. Otto, for you, mate, who stood out for you the most in the first half? And now you can say both defensively and offensively.
Man, in the first half, I think the Pagelo in the first half.
Yeah.
What they tried to do, and having the box kick too, they were long enough to have pressure under. So yes, him maybe my best in the first half. And but in general, maybe those players, nobody completely like
miles better than the other. I understand.
Everybody, yeah. If we have to mention somebody that could have been better, of course we can go on the line outro of Nicotera in the first half.
Yeah, he's got some things to work on. But listen, I think I was genuinely really impressed with Paolo Garbisi, and I think it's we don't mention him enough because he's like Lamaro, like you just expect a certain standard from him now. He's good enough to play a certain standard, so he's playing a great standard the majority of the time. Yes, there was a mistake in early second half with the intercept, but like for the most part, he was brilliant, man. Like he was just brilliant. Like his vision, like you can see him chatting like a little radio. Man, he was great. He was great, communicating well with everyone as well. So
what I like about this game also is the fact that we play without Ioane and without Ruzza from the beginning, and that's a big thing. We are not used to play without Ioane.
Yeah. So, how did you find Trulla?
Man, Gangs of Trulla, all good. I mean, he could have been passed the ball, as Ruzza said to him in a perfect Veneto style, completely Veneto style. Everybody hear that, so I'm not gonna repeat it. But in general, was pretty accurate. Yeah, Monty who? Here we go, Monty who. But those were good, two good stuff. When in the second half, Spagnolo steal the first ball and the second ball from Zuliani too. Those are good highlights of the game. And again, is against Japan. Is there? Was good.
I don't know if this is fact, and I know you're stat man, so you can keep me honest at some point. But the English commentators said that we had won more scrum penalties against Japan than England had. Like we were more dominant in scrum than England were against Japan. I find that really interesting, and actually, I've got again in my notes. I know you brought it up as well. Fischetti tackle saving try after the 3 penalties and the yellow card again, and then he won 1 scrum penalty, and he carried one, and it trapped a person from like not rolling away. So he netted out he netted out 2 scrum penalties, and he saved a try. Like if we're converting that into points, I don't think we kicked a goal for any of them, but territory gain. He saved probably 7 points because the guy was going under the post. Like if you net out and try and put like who did what, like Menoncello probably didn't have his best defensive game, but he saved a try over the line. He was great defensively on the wing. And then you start looking and you're like, okay, well, actually, when we're saying like everyone's contributed, I mean like to a science, like everyone contributed, right? So yeah, interesting.
Marin was good to see him playing. Pretty
Yeah,
confident with his what he did in the field, the kicks. Yes, the switch classic from us. He played that move with the kick behind from after the first phase. In the second game that he does the same, left and right side of the field. He did it. So pretty interesting because he played really well the territorial game in that way, because he push you back 25 meters and then you have another option. You have to attack from far away. So that was good. And about what you said about Japan scrum, with the own speed scrum against England, they were 100% accurate on that side. Against us, they were 25%.
Hey, listen.
Looking at the stats from Rugby Pass, I checked that.
Yeah, so I wanted to quickly say, because you mentioned about Marin, Garbisone, obviously, hopefully, he's all okay, nothing serious.
Looks like everything is okay from what the federation
has said. Yeah, good.
Yeah, released.
Good. I did make a note about Garbisino, right? And that was, I was astonished by the professionalism, because I know him and his brother are incredibly tight, they're incredibly close. He didn't look at him when he was down. It's quite easy, like seeing someone that you care about, to be distracted, but
absolutely,
he showed some balls, which was really nice to see as well from him. And obviously, I know there's always going to be discussions, because we're used to a certain standard of passing and certain decision making, but yeah, he's getting there, man. Like the amount of exposure that he's had in the national team, you can see that it's helping him as a player as well, which is kind of cool.
And he loves to score under the posts.
And he loves to score.
Man, it's crazy. Under the post again. It's fantastic. Ciao Lucio, ciao Paolo, Beniamino, and Phantom that we said before. Welcome here. We are live, I said again, on YouTube and
Beniamino. I'll talk about Giraffe Boy very quickly.
Okay, go with the Giraffe Boy. Those long legs and those curly hair.
I told you, two steps from our halfway line and he's just over. He scored that beautiful try.
He did one step slide.
That's it. He's actually, you can't defend against that. Although, no, joking aside, what I was going to say, and again, this is the age-old question, right? Chicken and the egg. Were the lineouts overthrown? Were this, that, and the other? Were the lifts not great? This, that, and the other. Regardless, he was up against a fantastic Japan lineout, regardless what happened on our own lineout. And as Otto said last week, they were 100%. And he was making the calls. He was making the decisions where to jump. You could see it. I was paying close attention to Zambonin. He played brilliantly. Defensively, he played brilliantly. Like, obviously, the information comes from the coaches and stuff, but I was really, really happy to see how competent he is at line-out goal. And I know that sounds stupid because he does it at Zebre, but it goes to show when you're taken out of that environment and you have the resources around you, like how much more impressive of a player he could become in the future. So congratulations to our favorite Giraffe man.
So a couple of stats from this game to close about this and to see the development of our stats during the three games. This was the game where we kicked 39 times. In the first game, 14, the second one, 29. So we went putting a lot more kicks in our game. 11 entries and 3 points average per entry, the same as against Tonga, but a much better respect Samoa, where we entry 13 times and 1.9 score. So we were more accurate when it was time to try to score. And was the game that we tackled the double against Tonga 103 times, against Japan 233, 100 more. 87% is the average of this tour for us. 87 is against this the Japan, but we missed, of course, 36 tackle. But still, Mike, if you think 87% and we tackle 100 times more, we had like 5 players with 20 plus tackles in double numbers at least. So,
yeah, man, they put their bodies on the line, and yeah, you know, like it's the same. It's the same old guard, right? Like the same old people who tend to make the tackles. You know, some of them not pretty, as in like them. Some of them are quite passive, but they make those tackles. Some of them, and this is something that I was fascinated about. We were so aggressive going into those tackles. Like there's one in particular. I think it was Riccioni and maybe Nicotera, where like their prop is running full pelt, and like they do a double tackle and they just sit him back. Oh, it was beautiful, and like the sound was
loud.
Yeah. I really enjoy, right? Obviously, the Japanese fans, we have to, you know, give them kudos because they came in numbers. They were very respectful, didn't, you know, whistle at the kicks or anything like that, you know. And also, they were so quiet. You could hear everything. You could hear every shout. You could hear what
they were loud. The Japan only when Leach, the captain, picked the ball every time they were screaming.
Yeah, like Beast.
Now we can scream what Trula said. That can be sorry, what Ruta said.
Yeah.
So we have some question. Let's start from this on Instagram from Filippo. Halloween, I think this Halloween we ever see a mole again from our players. What do you think?
A mole?
Yeah.
Yes, because we have to learn to play the conditions. So one thing that people need to understand is we can play expansive rugby when it's hot, when the conditions allow it to be played, right? When we're playing quick ball, and that style suits us better, right? But we need to be able to learn to adapt to our conditions, and if the conditions are shitty weather, you know, wet, muddy, we're going to have to be able to maul. We're going to have to be able to be better in the set piece. We're going to have to be more disciplined because 3 yellow cards won't cut it against the better teams. But yes, I think we'll definitely see some more mauls in the future.
Another 2 questions. One from Paulo, because also we are recapping a little bit the tour. How do you think Matt Gallagher got on in the previous game? He didn't see the game.
I think he's cool. He's go on, Otto. You go first.
No, one of the best in the field from our team. Thinking that was his first cap. Excellent job.
Yeah, reliable.
Reliable, as they said. So it's gonna be key in the Benetton game, having a player like him behind, like that is think more. And then. Should they have kicked into touch at 40 minutes plus?
No.
Phantom is asking. I go first if you want.
Go.
My opinion is that when I saw, okay, we're going to play, I said, okay, they want to kill the game, go 31 up, done, whatever. So you're 30 points up. Stuff change. We were finding in that multi-phase some option, then of course didn't went as we want, but we were playing on a 24 points difference margin, So I think probably that it was also okay. If we fuck it up here, it's not gonna be a big deal. We have 40 minutes to go back. It's not the last. If it was tied the game, of course they were going to kick easy out.
Well, so I don't think we would have, because we won the penalty. We won the penalty on their 40, right? So we were kicking into their 22. I think we were always going to play that. Like, maybe what we could have done is pointed at the post, and that probably would have been slightly more sensible, right? From the line out on the 40, we probably could have taken the points from there. Page reload probably would have made that. That's probably the option that, in hindsight, they should have taken. But yeah, hey, listen, if we're not going to be playing and trying to learn stuff in this summer series, then what the hell are we doing? Like, we're not learning anything about the players, because the players are, the players that we're going to pick, probably our best team. So we need to learn how to. I can only think of it in Italian now, but how to what's it
in Italiano? Why mai?
Gestire with those opportunities, right?
Manage the opportunities. Manage.
Yeah, exactly. Like develop like that part of our game. Well, we need to learn how to be better in those scenarios. And listen, that's the area where we mess up the most in. If you look at every single Six Nations, probably from the past 7 years, we can play in midfield. It's the last third that we always mess up on. So we need to get into those positions. And if we're not going to do it when we're 24 points up and we're going to kick the ball out, what's the point?
Makes sense. And against Japan, you are playing against a team that in theory is the one that challenge you the more than the other teams. Well. So, Mike, how many games we saw with Tesada? We've seen 5 games plus 3, 8 games.
Yeah.
3 defeats, 4 victories, 1 draw. How Italy's
good returns,
going?
Isn't it? Yeah.
Man, good returns first, and then we saw Gallagher and Zarantonello. Those 2 players we saw not so much. Hopefully Zarantonello more, but my eyes are gonna be more on him during his season with Castres.
Mm-hmm.
But we start with them. We saw playing a little bit more Marin. We see more starting Pajrelo, which is another thing. We see Trulla after 2 years. We play against Ruzza from the starting point, and for me that is key. It's really key in what we can offer a different way. And we don't have Negri, Odogu, and Lamb.
Yeah, I know. We still got. Yeah, it's crazy to think that we still have those. I obviously Seba is a big part of the pod.
That's true. He was good, huh? Zanon.
Yeah, he was very good.
Now we're gonna speak a few minutes, but go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
I was saying it's crazy to think, like the depth that we have in that back row. The fact that player like Odiase doesn't manage to get a sniff. The fact that we've got players like Ferrari at home. We are so blessed in that capacity. And you were saying last week you wanted to see one of the pacey boys on playing on the edge. Vincent was constantly on the edge, like constant. And also, I don't know if you noticed it. I think it was the first set piece that we had. Ball went to Menoncello off the tip on the inside. There was Vincent. He was running hard line off Menoncello. If those two start playing like that, then game over.
It helps us in the choices that we want to pick in the field. So, in general, if you have to rate this game from this tour from 0 to 10, there is the bitterness at the beginning of the. Is it a 6? Is a 7?
I would say it's 6 for me. That's being pessimistic. I don't know, 6.5. 6.5 for me. And I'll tell you why. Right, for me, I feel like it was a lost opportunity the first game, not to play May, not to play Odiase, not to learn more about these players in hindsight. And I know obviously everyone has 20/20 hindsight, but in hindsight, because we ended up losing the game, because there was no TMOs, because, you know, of all of the reasons of the above, man, like it would have been nice to see these players and actually have some sort of understanding where they are at test level. So I feel like we missed a bit of an opportunity there, which you have to sort of take a couple off. Then we learn a little bit more from Tonga, and we learn a little bit more, and there's a little bit more cohesiveness. Maybe we're able to adapt to our environment better.
That I think it's important, cohesiveness from there, because we still have to keep fighting for every result. Like on the Italian chat, I was reading that people was, but in this game we should have won by 60. No games is for free. No games is given.
Not for us.
You, so no, and not for us in general. So we have to raise the bar, raise the level. Less mistakes we need for the November, because it's gonna be really tough in November.
Yeah, we can't afford to play.
Ciao Seb. Seb just wrote us on Instagram. I cannot highlight. Hope the boys are well. Hope you are well, Seb. Now that you are back in Italy.
I was going to say, it's really interesting to see from the first game to the second game. It was like steps, right? And then I understand as a team, you know, there's probably loads of logistical reasons that we don't understand behind the background as to why potentially, you know, these games, particularly in the Pacific, are slightly more difficult for us. But it seems like we adapted, and I think I said, you know, the best teams always learn to adapt. They'll find a way of, you know, changing to their environment. And obviously Japan were playing a game quite similar to ours in many ways, and we learned to adapt, and we learned from the lessons in the previous game. That game management piece, hey, listen, I couldn't have written it. It was just such a impactful moment for us, right? So to go back to your original point, if I had to sort of suggest, if we were just saying Japan, if it was a one-game test, I would have given it an 8, because obviously there was large periods of that time where we were making mistakes and all of that stuff, and they were very good. But we won that game comfortably. But then the other 2 games, I think, is probably where we dock a couple of points. But yeah, so 6.5 for me, I think is probably fair.
I'm a little bit more positive than you. 7-. Come on.
7 minus?
7
-7?
7 meno. 7 meno. 7 meno pieno.
I'm a little bit more positive. -7.
A little bit more. Talking about November international, one of the news is that Julian Salvi, the former breakdown specialist of Benetton, is the new attacking coach of Georgia, of the Lelos. So he knows us very well, I can see, because at least he knows the 65, 70, whatever % of the Italian team, because he coached in Treviso for some years. But this is going to be so interesting autumn, but we have time. We're going to see the clubs playing, the franchise playing before, and we have more rugby championship to watch. Are you into rugby championship in general or not, Mike?
Yeah. No, I tend to watch it with my mates. I'm not one of these. I'm sure you're going to be like, I'm a South African fan, this X, but for me, it's sort of for me, it's sort of irrelevant, you know, who wins. So I just like being the neutral in there, having no like horse in the race, and just, you know, watching some fantastic rugby. I think probably if I'm going to be honest with you, the team that I'd want to see, you know, the most improvement on is probably going to be Australia. I just want, like, rugby union in general needs a strong Australia team, particularly because it's the Lions next year as well. And, you know, no one wants to go and see, you know, the Lions put like 60 points on them. And obviously then they played okay at the weekend. I don't think they played great. I mean, McWright is disgusting. He's a disgusting human being, but like I just feel, yeah, they've got a lot of growth. And like their attack was beautiful, but like their defense needs work. So they're almost like where we were last year. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe the year before.
They keep giving away a lot of points, even if they shy on attack.
Yeah, like having two, 60, 70, 100-meter tries is something we would do 2 years ago. So like it just feels like that's where they are, and obviously they've got great resources and great coach. So I hope to see this rugby championship another step forward for them.
Makes sense. I hope it's gonna be interesting because a lot of new players out there, and as you know, I want to see more of my friend Gomez Zulu playing 10 a starting game. I don't know when and how, but I would like to see that guy starting as a crazy man. But who knows? Except for that, I think this was another nice weekend. We saw some interesting game. There were large gap between all the team. Think about also Scotland. Think about Argentina against Uruguay, and then South Africa, Portugal. But still, it's interesting when even Portugal did those couple of action in the first half. Some interesting individual skills from think about Bento, the fullback. Some good stuff in the field. So
yeah, man, I'm to
see that.
It was nice to see the tier 2 nations, like full stop. And I think everyone's starting to, the game is starting to move in a really positive direction. I think, like particularly if we want, long-term success as a sport, it looks like the tier 2 nations are developing. It looks like they're getting some decent coverage. They're playing some decent teams, and it's going to be interesting to see sort of what the next 5 years shows. But I think for us in particular, we've always done our part. Scotland have always done their part playing tier 2 nations. The fact that they went away to Canada, USA, and obviously now I think they've got Uruguay this weekend, don't they?
Chile. They play Chile.
Is it Chile? Okay, perfect. So
they
they're playing Chile
against Chile and Uruguay against Argentina.
No. So sorry, next weekend.
Oh, next. I think they're gonna play Uruguay again. Last game.
Yeah. So next weekend they've got obviously Uruguay, and like you said, they've done 2 Northern American teams and they've done 2 Southern American teams, and they're putting there. Yeah, it's just nice for these teams to get exposure, and hopefully some of them get picked up off the back of this. Hopefully, there's a scout out there, and we start seeing them more and more in like the European competition. So yeah, man, I'm fantastic weekend of rugby personally all around.
Mike, I think we can wrap it up because that's it for this game. We're gonna have another couple of podcasts maybe before the beginning of the season. New guest on board, and was happy to see you on a hot Bulgarian summer Monday, Mike.
Hey, perfect. Always pleasure seeing you, mate. And yeah, it's muggy here, but I don't envy you if it's warm there.
No, absolutely not.
Awesome.
Thank you, everyone. Go ahead, Mike.
No, that's it. I was gonna say I'm away for a week unless I can find some time to do this out in Italy. But
man, that week it's before Ferragosto. Come on, it's gonna be busy. You're gonna be busy. I'm gonna be busy. My mom already said, okay, the 11th we have a dinner. Perfect, no problem. I'm here, ready for that.
That's it. Can't turn that down.
Yeah. Ciao a tutti.